Hi everyone! So I'm back today to continue with my sketchbook flip-throughs, and you know what, let's just get straight into it. If you haven't seen the first one, I'll leave a link down below. Yeah, so we have 3 sketchbooks left, and this first one here I'm just gonna mention first so we could get rid of it. Basically this was my accordion one that I did for, I think, World Watercolor Month 2022, right? I think that was it. So I go through each of them in more detail. This is the accordion one, so I go through each of them in more detail in that video, so I'll just link that video down below for you. Yeah, so that's that. I'll move that aside. And then we have these two. So this Kadi sketchbook was the main one that I've been painting in throughout the year, basically on and off, as well as this one. This one's the Jackson's watercolor sketchbook. It's a little bit dirty. It's like a fabric type of texture, so it is a little bit easy to get dirty, and I probably have like dust and lint all over this, but yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, both of these books I sort of worked through, painted and swatched in throughout the whole year, so it's sort of like all over the place. And which one should we go first? Should we do the swatch or the sketchbook? We'll go with the swatch book first. Again, this is Jackson's watercolor sketchbook, and see, I put it back here, so then if I forget in the future and then I look through it and I'm like, oh, I like this paper, then I could go back and buy it. So yeah, it's actually by Kunst and Papier. Yeah, 35% cotton. Well, you could read that for yourself. So yeah, this was basically my swatch book. So yeah, this was basically my swatch book, experimental mixes and mixes that I like. So I basically, actually let me zoom out a bit. There we go. So I actually started out with like some experimental mixes, and then I figured it would be a good book for me to catalog my favorite mixes, you know, just something like that. And I think I quite like this mix. Manganese violet and Holbein, lots of granulation. Yeah, so I basically just painted some mixes that I liked from whatever I painted, and I feel like, ooh, I like this mix, then I'd put it in here. Or even if I'm like wondering what type of mixes that, like if I wonder about, oh, how would Potter's Pink and Cerulean Blue look, then I put it in here. So not all of these are like my favorites. Some of them are experimental, but I do like all of them, and they all, like, you know, when I go through this book, it's sort of like a place for inspiration, I guess you could say. And these tube stamps are actually stamps, well, it's just the one tube stamp that I drew, I guess. Could you say I drew? No, actually I traced, right? I completely forgot how I did it because it was so long ago. So if you want to see how I made this stamp, I'll leave a link to the video down below as well. So yeah, you're gonna see some granulation and stuff. And I actually like this one, Indian Red and Ultramarine Blue. People don't really use this, but I quite like it. And then these ones, I think, was in my experimental stage because I'm not really into warm browns or like warm reds, actually. Yeah, this was probably my experimental stuff. So the pages are pretty nice and thick. How much is it? 160 GSM. So I wouldn't say they're like thick, but it's enough for you to, as you can see, paint on both sides. And I did use a lot of water on these, liberally. Yeah, and it turned out pretty okay. Don't mind that. That's just me using hair dryer to speed the drying up. Yeah, so the pages, what I don't like about this sketchbook is the texture of the paper. I'm not sure if you could see, but the texture is pretty prominent. So I think it's good for like granulation and mixes like that. But personally, I don't like these type of like patterned textures in like, you know, when I paint art and whatnot. It sort of distracts me and it just feels like there's that pattern and I'm not really into that pattern. What happened here? Oh, that's probably me. Yeah, I quite like this mix. Marine, Phthalo Turquoise, PB16, and Potter's Pink, PR233. It looks pretty nice. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly flip through this. Oh, I remember this one. This Van Gogh Pyrrole Orange and PBK 11 mix reminded me of like volcano, like this sort of texture. And then that inspired me to paint something in this, which I'll show you when we get to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed just swatching in this. This is also another one of my favorites. I don't know, I quite like these magenta and turquoisey colors. Whether they granulate or not, I just like those mixes. I think we have a lot more to go. So I'm just gonna keep, if there's any pages that you can't see. Oh, this one, Daniel Smith Lunar Earth, PBR 11. Could you see that? Look at all that. I still can't make up my mind if I like that sort of effect or if I don't like it. Maybe it's because of the red. If I used something else, maybe I'd like it more. Let's see. Which other ones are there? Oh, Phthalo Green. I actually quite like this one. This somehow reminded me of Green Lantern. I don't know if there's any violet and purple in Green Lantern, but that looked really nice. Again, this is also a really nice mix that I like. Turquoise, and then this is like Rose of Ultramarine, which is sort of like a violet but magenta leaning. Oh, and this was my experimental, well, my first attempt at filming my winter tetrad. And then, oh, I don't know what happened here. And then this is the actual one that I used in my video. If you haven't seen my seasonal tetrads, I'll link a playlist down below. And then this one turned out a disaster. And some more. I think this was when I was into Caput Mortems. They actually turned out pretty nice. They give like a nice natural granulation effect that's not as dark or harsh as Daniel Smith's Lunar Black. So if you're interested in that sort of like effect, then I recommend Caput Mortem. And then this is the summer tetrad, autumn tetrad, some more mixes. And you're gonna see that I didn't, oh wait, no, this was the one, not that orange. So this was the actual one that inspired me to paint the volcano in here. Okay, see guys, sometimes I don't remember stuff that I do. Oh, this was my Potter's Pink phase. I quite like all of their mixes though. Like this one with lavender is really nice. Oh, I like this one. Phthalo Turquoise, PB16, and Mahogany Brown, PBR33. Just get a really dark red brown, and you could get a really nice granulating dark mix. Lovely. And then I have several pages back here that I've kept blank on purpose as well as, you know, the sheets in between that we went through that was empty like this. And that's because in case I want to possibly, like, you know, compare papers and types of papers in the future. So that's why I've left it blank. And also because I thought, like, I'm working on minimizing my palette and trying to sort of minimize my palette in a way where I have my core colors and then my supplementary colors, sort of like Denise's video where she's like, this palette is the colors that I use all the time, and this color is the palette that I want to have in that I could reach easily, something like that. So I've kept a few pages blank for that, as well as for a few pages blank for testing in the future, comparing papers and whatnot. So yeah, so that's that. And then let's move on to this last one. This is the Kadi sketchbook, and I did an initial review or a first impressions. You know what? I gotta say that I'm kind of sad because look what happened. Oh my goodness, like, do you see that? That's so sad. So basically, this is not a stitched binding, it's a glued binding, and as you can see, it's already coming apart. I would still recommend this sketchbook for anyone who wants to try Kadi in general, Kadi paper, because it is, I feel like it is different from, you know, like just general 100% cotton paper in general. It behaves differently because it's like really soft and all that, much more cloth-like. Yeah, so again, this is just, you know, just painting randomly, enjoying painting and watercoloring basically. Nothing too beautiful, nothing to be proud of yet, at least not in my opinion. I quite liked this one. I did mess up here a little bit, but overall in general I quite liked this. I painted something from my garden. If I remember, I'll try to put a picture somewhere on screen here. Yeah, I think I quite liked how this turned out. It turned out pretty like abstract-y, and in my eyes I quite like it. It looks quite beautiful to me, at least. And as you can see, there's some color seeping from the other pages, so that's something to be aware of if you get this sketchbook, because it's a glued binding. And as you can see, there's like the pages are coming like apart, sort of. And yeah, for this one, I actually finished painting this one already, and then I wanted to test out some glitters and metallic paints that I already have, because I started getting into, like, you know, I started getting interested in getting some shimmery or metallic or glitter watercolors. So I tried the Van Gogh that I already have just to see what it would look like on a finished painting. And yeah, this part doesn't look good, but this part I think is something that I could possibly experiment with in the future. And then this one, not all that interesting. And this is just like some experiment with alcohol. I quite like this one. I've painted something like this before for Inktober a long time ago. Maybe like in 2020, I think. I don't remember, but this was pretty fun. And here, this is the volcano that I talked about. I absolutely loved this one because it's just 2 colors and just paint, no sketching, no nothing. Of course, it's not like 100% well refined, but I think this is what I want, like, my watercoloring to be. Low effort, but purposeful brush strokes and making the paint do its thing to create art. So I think I used hematite, Daniel Smith's Hematite Genuine for this, because Daniel Smith Lunar Black would be too harsh of a black, and I feel like Daniel Smith Hematite is sort of like more natural looking. Yeah, and then for the red, I used Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Coral PR209, and that gave a really nice red. I did mess up here a little bit, well, this whole part with the red, but overall I quite liked how the texture of the hematite came out to create that like rocky texture, and then like the lava swoosh. I really liked that. So yeah, I hope I could do more of these types of paintings in the future. It was fun. It's not completely low effort, and then this is just me wanting to replicate that in other color schemes, but I didn't really have much success. And then this is, it's supposed to be portrait, but I'm sorry, it's long. So this one's supposed to be like a waterfall. I didn't use any reference pictures for this either. Like the volcano wasn't, I didn't have a reference picture either. So this one was also one that I really like. Just went in there with paint. Again, Hematite Genuine. I think I used Hematite Genuine, if not probably Lunar Black. And it really helps like create that rock texture without you needing to paint in any rock texture. So yeah. And then I had a viewer tell me that this part actually looks like the reflection of up here, maybe because of the spine, which I think is really creative. But that's not what I intended. My intention was just this whole thing is a waterfall. But I can see it now that they've mentioned it. And then this is just some more, just messing around with gold and silver shimmer, I guess. If anyone's interested, I actually used Van Gogh's gold and silver for this, so it works. Van Gogh is just fine. And then this was, I don't even remember what. And then I quite like this one. Simple yet not completely well refined, but it's cute in its own right. And then this one was the one that I actually put on Instagram because it looked more vibrant, shall we say. And then this is what I mean by controlled splashes that I like to do. I talked about controlled splashes in my brush comparison, my quill brush comparison video, that I like controlled splashes, and this is like, this shows that very well because you get some of the green from the grass up here and then some of the blue from the sky down here. Yeah, I really like that one. And then this one was just me trying to replicate it again in a different color scheme. And then this is just, I don't know what this is. I was looking through Unsplash, and then I saw lots of like pictures with like women in hats covering their eyes, and then okay, let's just not talk about it. Oh, here's a very good example of how the paper has just like come off of the glued binding. And then this page is like about to fall off. Yeah, so this is another waterfall. This was, I think I painted this with a reference picture. So yeah, again, not the best, but I was having fun with waterfalls. Oh, I quite like this one. This seems like, I also painted this with a reference picture, but the reason I liked this one more is because it looks, I don't know, it looks more natural and it looks very misty and mystical somehow. I quite like it. All right, moving on. Oh, and this page had some pilling. So I'm not sure what that is, but if anyone is interested in Kadi and has never used Kadi before, their pages aren't very consistent, and I think that's because of the handmade factor, but it's still pretty good. Just keep in mind that not every page will be 100% the same. And then this is another waterfall image that I quite like this top part up here. It looks pretty good. But this part down here, something went wrong. But all in all, I quite liked it. It was like my watercolor waterfall phase. Oh, and I love this one. How can I show you? There we go. Can you see its entirety? I really, really loved this piece. No reference image, just, I think I was, what was I doing? I think I was rearranging my, my paint pans, and I was just like, oh, I wanna paint. And this came out of that. Now my leaves aren't perfect, I know, but I absolutely loved this piece after I painted it. I feel like it was just playing around, like watercolor sketching. Super low effort, but turned out really beautiful. I really liked like these from yellow to, I think this is probably carmine or quin rose, I don't remember, but like I really like these gradients. So beautiful. Okay, and then this was just playing around. Oh, and this part, as you can see, I actually cut off a few pages for a friend to try. And then these are just extra pages. Like I said, I keep a few extra empty pages just, you know, for experimental things in the future or comparison to other papers or, you know, whatever. But yeah. So we're at about 20 minutes for this video, and I think that's it, everyone, for this video. Feel free to comment down below what you think about my artwork. I'd love any feedback. I mean, like I said, I'm aware that I'm not a talented artist. Like, these things, to me, sometimes feels like it's beautiful and it's just like, you know, a miracle sometimes. But all in all, I know that I can't really put out consistently good art. It's usually a, like, you know, once in a blue moon, or just like, you know, every now and then it just happens on its own. So yeah, I do want to work on being able to consistently create good art, at least good to me in my eyes, that I would be like happy enough to sell, because I've always had this dream. Well, it's not really a dream and it's not really a goal, because I'm not yet at the point of being able to put out good art good enough where I would sell. But I sort of have this idea where, like, I want to be able to paint enough and have a collection of paintings, possibly like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30. We'll just go with 10 to 20 for now. And then sell those, use like half of the profit I'd keep for myself, and then half I want to possibly donate to like a charity. The one I have in mind now, which like changes all the time because it depends on my situation, right? But the current one I want to donate to is like, you know, I'm not sure what they call it here in Thailand, but something to do with transplantation, transplanting organs, or like researching transplants, you know, things like that. Things that are close to me personally, I guess. Yeah, so hopefully I could work towards that one day. I actually thought about doing that throughout 2022 and then sell such paintings in December, you know, but it didn't work out. So maybe, hopefully this year in 2023, I could possibly work on that. I don't know. We'll see where life takes me. As you all know, this is not my job. So, I mean, yeah, YouTube is not a good, stable income. It's practically no income at all. But yeah, anyways, I'm open for feedback. Constructive criticisms I could take, of course. And yeah, like I said, I'm aware that I'm like I'm still learning, okay? I'm still learning. All right, I think that's it for today and this video. It's been a bit vulnerable for me to share all these because, like I said, I'm not really like confident with my work or like wanting to share, because I know that it's not beautiful, like awesome stuff. But yeah, hopefully something maybe inspires you to do something, or maybe seeing my bad art inspires you to be like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it better too. So yeah, hopefully something helps someone out there. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to drink lots of water and stay hydrated.